Why cardio isn't fixing fat loss? If cardio alone fixed fat loss, most people would already have the results they want. But the reality is, a lot of very consistent people are doing plenty of cardio and still feeling stuck. So, let's talk about why that happens and what cardio is actually good for. On paper, relying on cardio makes sense. Cardio burns calories, you feel like you've worked hard, you're sweaty, out of breath, and tired when you've done. And for many people, cardio is the first thing that gets recommended when fat loss is the goal. It feels productive, it feels like effort, and it feels logical to assume that if you just do enough of it, your body should change. So if you're someone who thought, if I just run more, walk more, or push harder with cardio, this has to work, that logic isn't wrong. It makes sense. The problem isn't the idea of cardio. It's expecting cardio to do a job it wasn't designed to do on its own. Here's where things usually start to break down. The body adapts very quickly to cardio. What once felt hard becomes easier. You burn fewer calories doing the same work over time because your body becomes more efficient. At the same time, appetite often increases, sometimes subtle, sometimes significantly, without people realizing it. You don't necessarily eat badly, you just eat a little more to match the demand. Recovery also starts to matter more. As cardio volume increases, so does overall stress on the body, especially when you combine training with work stress, life stress, poor sleep, or under recovery. This is where many people get stuck in a loop. They do more cardio, they feel more tired, recovery doesn't fully keep up, and fat loss slows or stalls. Cardio burns calories, but it doesn't automatically fix the system that controls fat loss. When stress stays elevated for too long, the body becomes protective, not broken, protective. And in that state, pushing harder with more cardio isn't always the solution. That's why so many disciplined, consistent people feel frustrated. Not because they're doing nothing, but because they're doing a lot without the right balance. This is where cardio needs to be reframed. Cardio is a tool, it's not the foundation. Cardio works best when it supports a structure, not when it carries the whole load. Strength training creates metabolic demand. It helps maintain muscle structure and long-term adaptation. Cardio supports health, endurance, movement, enjoyment, and daily energy. And recovery is the limiter that decides whether any of it actually works. When training is balanced, when strength, cardio, and recovery are working together, fat loss becomes far more predictable. Not extreme, not punishing, just structured. If cardio was the missing piece, doing more of it would always solve the problem. When fat loss stalls, it's usually not because you're not doing enough, it's because the system isn't balanced. In the next video, I'll explain why consistency feels so hard after 40 and why that's not a motivational issue. If you want calm, practical explanations around training, nutrition, and long-term health, you can subscribe and follow along.